Hi, I'm Barbara the Weaver.
I am actually beaming the warp here. I threaded the beater and then through the heddles, which gives you your pattern. Then the long warp is hanging off the front. You have to roll all of it to the back, work forward. So as it's completed, it goes around to the front beam, which is underneath where I'm standing, but it's down a little lower than the back one. And that's the front beam. So the front beam is where the completed fabric rolls on.
This is the hard part.
This is one of those finicky parts. And because I'm using a thicker cotton here just as test pieces, it did seem to be wanting to tangle. And you see me standing there straightening it out. And then I'm releasing the brake so that I can wind some more warp onto the back beam. I'm adjusting the paper, which is to keep your levels separated. So it's a little bit finicky with one person doing it.
Perfect.
Mine were on the side I'm sitting, and yours on the side you're sitting.
Here I have the loom all ready to go, and I have clamped my bobbin winder onto my stool, which seemed the best place, and I'm sitting in my rocker, and I'm winding bobbins. I have not done this like this before. When I wove in college, I used stick shuttles, which are very different. And there's a certain way you have to do this. You have to fill the ends first and then fill in the center. That enables the yarn to feed out very smoothly. And I did several bobbins all at once because I wasn't sure how many I'm going to need ultimately, but I wanted to have several already done and on hand.
And this goes into the shuttle so it can feed out.
It does. Just getting the initial setup finalized. When you tie it to your front least stick, when you tie the yarn on, it's in bunches and it has a tendency to pull in. What I am doing is inserting strips of paper at the beginning. This is to spread your warp out.
So on that least stick, you've tied them together in groups of 8 to help keep them straight, and now the paper helps spread them out evenly?
Yes, it spreads the warp out evenly, and you want to flatten it all out so it's all level, and you can start your weaving then. So this is what I'm doing, trying to adjust how much warp there is in front of me and trying to get it all lined up. And I'm actually starting to weave.
Now let's point out that thread right there.
It's out of line. I had double-checked my heddles and everything was fine. What I had forgotten to check was between the heddles and the reed to make sure that I hadn't crossed anything. And unfortunately, I had crossed one set of threads, and because the threads are cross going through the reed, they're twisting as they're coming through there. I had woven an inch or so. As I kept working, you could see more of it coming up and realize what was going wrong. And what I ended up doing was taking it out and restarting because I realized that it was wrong. I retied that sectional warp once I corrected the mistake. And this goes to show that this is a complicated process and mistakes are easily made, but the important thing is to fix them.
But you fixed it. You went back.
Yeah. And if you look closely, you can see that there is plain warp, and then I have some variegated threads, and then plain warp, and then I have a color to make a stripe, and then plain warp. This was part of my plan of working with the colors, trying to figure out how it's going. As I'm working forward, I used just the plain off-white weft to fill in. Later on, I will use the variegated yarn and then the solid because I want to see how that interacts with the stripes and the warp.
This makes a nice test piece so you can see across how working in the different colors fits in, and you're going to do different weave patterns.
I'm real pleased with it, and it's wonderful to be doing it again. You really get your hands back into something, and it's just coming along really nicely. Please come back and watch. I hope you join me on this journey, because so far it's just been fascinating. And it is really amazing, after so many years, to go back and relearn something. You know, it's really just been a wonderful ride so far, and I know the best is yet to come.